Priyanka, welcome to the show.
I really did see myself working in luxury and sustainability, being, eventually director of sustainability at Chanel. If I wasn't there, this ambition of moving to the US would have never existed for EcoLearn. So there was a limit to what I could do to help keep the company moving forward. And I didn't like feeling that limit. Now to actually become a client of mine, that depends on how willing someone is to really make a difference in their life and to really take control of their health and be empowered to do something about it. The only thing I was really doing for fun was reading books about cycle syncing and about holistic health for women, and reading studies online and listening to people who have already started talking about this. I want every woman to know that if they are going through all of this, there is something that they can do. Every woman should be knowing what's happening with their body. Every woman should be knowing how to go through the different hormonal shifts that they're going to face in different phases of their life as well.
Welcome to Keeping Up with the Sassies, the podcast where we explore the projects, challenges, setbacks, and successes of sustainability and social innovators. I'm your host, Juan Pablo Grimaldi, and today I'm thrilled to welcome an incredible guest. She's a multi-talented leader who has co-founded several organizations. Is a passionate dancer, a yoga enthusiast, Priyanka Kumar Mathur. Priyanka, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Juan Pablo. It's great to be here and awesome to see you working on this project.
Thank you. How have you been?
I've been great. I have had a lot of different things happen in recent months, so navigating through all of that, but it's been really exciting and there's a lot more exciting things to come. So,
Well, that's great. Where are you currently at?
I'm in New Jersey. After SASD, came back to the US when COVID happened, and I never really went back to France, even though I was visiting quite often because of work. I am here. I'm with my husband and very close to all of my family. So it's a nice little place.
Nice. And we're talking now during the summer, so have you taken your holidays or you're looking forward to them?
Well, as an American and as someone in the US, August holidays don't really exist.
Sorry for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was working with an entirely French team for the past 5 years, so I got a little bit used to it, but I would still work in August, even though everyone else was taking holiday because nobody else was available to take a holiday with me here. So it was a nice quiet time. This time around, I had left my company only a couple of months ago, and so right now I am currently not doing a 9-to-5 job, and so I'm more or less on my own holiday, but working on my own projects and starting my own stuff up.
Okay, sounds busy and actually exciting.
Yeah, it's been really, really busy, yes, for sure. But the flexibility and the ability to work 100% on something that I'm very passionate about right now is amazing, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this.
Okay, so could you maybe step back a little bit and tell us how you come to this place? What were you doing before finding a project that you were passionate about?
Absolutely. So since graduating from SASI in 2020, I had been working with a couple of other HEC alum on building a sustainability training startup in France called EcoLearn. And we developed online courses as well as in-person courses to teach professionals and companies about how to incorporate sustainability into what they are doing within their business and make sure that we can spread the knowledge and skills throughout an entire organization for them to transform.
Mm-hmm.
So for about 5 years, I was building that with my co-founders from New Jersey. My co-founders were in Paris and also in the south of France. And it was an interesting journey. There was a lot happening. Of course, when you're building a company, I had joined when the idea was already conceived, and I joined to really build the company up, to build out our product line, to build out our teams. And by the time I left, we had about 20 employees,
Mm-hmm.
15 to 20, and we were making a few million, a couple million in revenue. And so we had worked really well in building out in the French market. My ambition joining them was to really build out in the US and bring our products in the US and create a team around me here and work with clients here. But for any startup, we went through a lot of ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't in a position to move outside of France largely, or outside of Europe even,
Yeah.
in a way that I was aligned with. And so
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years, I really made the decision, and I understood and made the realization that I needed to do something a bit more local to my own context and do something that I can touch and feel a bit better than what was happening with this company out in France.
Yeah. So 5 years seems a lot.
Yeah.
Especially, were you employee number three?
Basically, basically employee number one
Okay.
slash co-founder.
Okay.
Um,
So,
yeah, if you don't count the original co-founders as employees, I was employee number one,
okay.
and late founder.
Okay.
And so yeah, I own part of the company and everything.
So what drove you to go there? On how did they choose you? Like, do you know why?
Um, to this day, I don't know how to articulate why.
Okay.
I I just know that I had started working with them to build out some online courses, and
Mm-hmm.
after a few months, I had already decided that I'm not going to be moving back to France, that I would try to look for a job in the US.
Yeah.
And they asked me to stay. And they asked me to stay to continue building out our product line and to build out teams, everything. Um, I don't know what exactly they saw in me that they really wanted me to stay. And to this
Yeah.
day, I mean, my old co-founder uh, is uh, is very appreciative of everything that I've been able to bring to the company and to his own
Mm-hmm.
journey as well. And uh, I must be good at something. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that I did have the SASE background. I did have the
Uh-huh.
sustainability lens. I did have a strong sense of entrepreneurship in me as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I had been in this space a little bit before, even before SASE. And I think the combination of all of that is part of it. Plus, I did more or less balance out the other co-founders in terms of character and personality. I bring a lot of the organizational skills and empathetic personality to the team. I think that really helped as we were building out the other uh, facets of the company.
And you mentioned that you came back to the US, and if I'm not mistaken, it was at the time of the COVID pandemic or the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Uh, what made you think like going in your professional career at that time with EcoLearn was the right step for you to take?
uh, I think that, well, I went to SASI because I knew I wanted to do something in sustainability and corporate sustainability at that time. So COVID had happened. I came home, and during that time, we still had to finish a few of our courses, and it was mostly our certificate that we had to finalize. I was in the luxury business certificate, and
Mm-hmm.
leading up to that entire year, I really did see myself working in luxury and sustainability, being, eventually director of sustainability at Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that that was the best choice. But then once COVID hit, and we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I was learning about fancy cars and champagne and luxury goods that, to me, don't don't really mean anything. There's no
Mm-hmm.
purpose other than art. Art is really important, I understand, but
Mm-hmm.
we were literally, there were people across the world just uh, dying,
Yeah.
and and so in that moment, I do remember that I fully felt even a little bit disgusted with how I was studying about luxury business at this time when the world really needed something more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did in that moment realize that my intention for going into SASI came from this place of uh, and this desire for having a large social impact. My background was in public health,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I knew that moving forward in whatever I would do, it would have to be related to really something meaningful and impactful, whether it's for the environment or for people, and solving the world's issues. Um,
Yeah.
so I then, yeah, found the opportunity because one of the co-founders of EcoLearn reached out to a lot of people, and they were looking for someone to help. So I replied back, and I really did see that through education and skills programs for companies, that we could really help people understand that they also can have that impact. And I always believe that companies have so much influence in the world,
Mm-hmm.
even more than governments sometimes, I feel. And so there has to be a way for them to be able to make some sort of a difference. And that was my entire reasoning why I even went to SASI. And so that's why I joined and I stayed. And at that time too, even if though it was COVID and coming out of COVID, the whole sustainability space was booming, I felt. I really feel like in the US and in France, there were so many people talking about it, so many events happening, and there was a real momentum for the first couple of years of me at EcoLearn.
It sounds like perfect timing for what you wanted to do and what the company was trying to achieve. Do you remember any program or education training? I don't know exactly how you call them. In particular, one of the first one that you really liked.
Um, we developed a variety of different courses that are meant to help anyone in an organization be able to do their job with a sustainability lens. And so we did not create courses only for the sustainability teams. We created courses for the marketing team, the engineering team, the HR, the finance. And I think that was really the most differentiating and exciting piece of what we were building and how we could stand apart from some of the competitors that started to come around. Even though all of these courses are really important, uh, the the one course that is meant for the sustainability managers or meant for department heads to really understand all the important facets of sustainability in the business.
Mhm.
That's the course that I think was great. And it was our flagship course. It was called Manager la durabilité en entreprise, or Managing Corporate Sustainability.
Mhm.
And it was 10 lessons, 50 hours long, and each lesson was about a specific topic of sustainability, whether it was climate change, and reducing carbon, or it was human rights and the social side, or sustainable marketing, or sustainable finance. We had one lesson for each of these different topics that span a company, and you go deep enough to be able to ask the right questions and to be able to see a framework starting to be built within your company. So, from a content perspective, I think that was the most robust.
Mhm.
And also from a development perspective, the team that worked on that uh, has a special place in my heart. And they were my team that I built, and then my first ever
That's
team
nice.
like that. And I think the creativity that went into building this course was so great. And so I would always lean towards that, even though every course brings its own unique value.
That's very cool. And I wonder whether clients would like to see their courses fit their companies rather than having a already structured program. Do you have to work around this type of flexibility?
100%. So we did realize that as we were trying to sell B2B, um, a lot of companies wanted custom courses. They
Mhm.
they wanted a certain length, they wanted a certain set of modules, certain topics, and then they wanted to also mix those topics that we already had with content that they had. So maybe companies already have a sustainability strategy in place. Some of them wanted us to create an entire module about their own strategy just so that they can use this as a way to educate more and more of their employees about sustainability in general and what they are doing for it. So we did see a lot of requests for customization.
Mhm.
A lot of our business was or is B2C though.
Okay.
So we did have a majority of our revenue coming in from our preset courses where we had sessions and people would join and they would have a
Mhm.
webinar in the beginning, a webinar at the end, sort of thing. But for companies, there were a few that would send their employees to our B2C sessions,
Mhm.
and that's how they would start training their employees. And then there were a few that really wanted to turn the training into a whole kind of production to create custom bespoke options for themselves.
I see. And well, you mentioned that you were employee number one and you were there for 5 years. Uh, can you just walk me by how you progress during these 5 years? I guess your role changed significantly as the company grew.
Yes. So technically, I started as in French, of course. In France, of course, it's normal to have an internship once you graduate from your master's program.
Yeah.
So I started technically as an intern for the first couple of months, and then as my internship was ending, that's when they asked me to stay. Then I started as um I don't even remember what I gave myself as a title, but the first one that I can remember was head of product. So I started as head of product, building out our product line, creating more online courses, building the team to create more online courses, because at the time we really wanted to invest in being the first to market with the greatest content there is for
Mm-hmm.
corporate sustainability. So, head of product for a while, and then, or maybe 2 years. And then I became officially, even though for some time I was doing many different things and wearing so many different hats.
Yeah.
Uh, I could have been also chief people officer and uh, everything, because I was doing the HR and recruiting and so
Yeah.
many different things. But then I eventually officially became chief operating officer.
Okay.
So from head of product, I went to chief operating officer, and that's when I began to also have a little bit more of a role in the strategic committee that we had, the shareholder
Mm-hmm.
meetings. That's also around when I became an owner of the
Mm-hmm.
company as well, officially. And so my last two or 3 years was as chief operating officer. And at the same time, I was also head of product and also helping with other uh, other teams.
I think it must have been very rewarding seeing how you were employee number one and you have grown to the place you were. And maybe just for someone who doesn't really understand what does a chief operations officer means, how did your typical day look like?
My day as chief operating officer was always uh it was always different, right? The COO at a startup is going to be doing very different things than the COO at a huge company. At a startup, I mainly my role was meant to make sure that all of the teams within our operations are working well together, are collaborating, and that any problems that come around, I am usually the one that solved them. So,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring that the operations go well, basically. And
Sounds stressing.
it it was at points, at many points, especially when we were going through a downhill and struggling with any challenges, bigger challenges that the company was facing. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was in a unique position, very concrete, very concretely. I was in a unique position because my entire team was based in France,
Yeah.
everyone, and I'm here in New York time. So I would wake up, they would have already finished half of their day,
Mm-hmm.
and I spend my whole meeting in meetings. Uh, I met with the teams to make sure strategy for each team was moving forward, to make sure any problems they were facing were being handled, so on and so forth. Um, I hosted manager meetings so that the heads of each team were. I was making sure that everyone was communicating well. That's really what my job was, and solving problems together. And then we would have strategic meetings between me and the co-founders. Um, so my entire morning would be meetings, and then I would have my lunch, and they would finish their day. And then the second half of the day was when I would actually be able to do my own work. And it
Yeah.
was quite nice. It was quite nice to have that big block of time where no one would interrupt me, because
Yeah.
I talk to many people where it's hard to get things done when you have a full day of meetings, or you have
Mm-hmm.
so many people coming to ask questions. So yeah, that's when I would do whatever I had to do to help make everybody else's life easier in the company.
That's uh that's very interesting, and especially the balance you were able to strike with morning meetings and productive time in the afternoon. And maybe like one thing I have always wondered, how were you able to basically spend 5 years in the US with clients based in France and with this time difference?
I don't really know. Um, well, to be really honest, the first couple of years, it was easier because it was COVID. And so
Mhm.
also everybody in France was mostly remote. And and here everyone was remote. And so it kind of felt normal. I really enjoyed all of the flexibility of being at home, and I wasn't going to go into an office anyway because it was COVID. Then, as things really started opening up and France really did start going back to the office, and as our team started growing too, right? Like in the first couple of years, the team was so small that it didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. Um, as the team started to really grow, I admit that I did feel a bit distanced from them. So even though I'm talking to many of them online for meetings or this or that, I missed all of the interactions that they would have in person when they meet at the co-working space, all of the small conversations, all of the game nights that they hosted. And so, yes, of course, that was it started to feel a little bit lonely. And but I also did end up starting to visit Paris as well. So that helped because I would go to see all of the teams for a couple weeks at a time, a couple of times, maybe one. Uh, it was kind of irregular, the amount of times that I went, but I did spend quite a lot of time in the past 2, 3 years in Paris itself. So that was always very energizing for me and helped kind of keep me going until the next time. But a big reason why I also decided to leave is because it did get a lot. It did get a lot to go through the hardest challenges that we had to go through from such a distance and to not really be there physically with my CEO, with the team
Hmm.
at every point. And so that was definitely one of the reasons why I had this draw to move on to something else. And I knew that that something else needed to include a very heavy importance on something in my local context and touching,
Yeah.
feeling, talking to people around me and
Hmm.
in my own country.
It's a very interesting take, and especially I haven't met a lot of people who have been able to pull what you were doing, this very long distance home office. Um, do you have any advice for someone who needs to decide on implementing a policy of working from home or full time at the office?
I think that there should definitely be a balance. I really like the idea of hybrid. I also like the idea of not making it mandatory for every company because every company works very differently. I think one of the coolest things about EcoLearn at one point was that we had people joining us from all over, not only in Paris and France, but and then me in the US, but we had a few people who joined us from other countries as well. And they were only able to really do that because we had a culture of being online. And even though we had a co-working as well, a majority of the important stuff was always happening online. And
Mm,
so so I think that it really depends on the company. And if if someone is about to join a company that is fully remote and you have people from everywhere and so everyone is always online, that's going to be a lot better than if you're the only one remote and everybody else is seeing each other a lot more often in Paris.
yeah.
And that's what it kind of turned into toward the end, which
Hmm.
added to how I felt about being a little bit isolated.
We will be right back.
Hey, Associate Graduate.
Have you just wrapped up an amazing project or working on one that deserves more than a LinkedIn post? Share with us on the next season of Keeping Up with the Sassies. Fill out the form in the show notes and let your story inspire our community.
Hey, Sassy Grads! It's your Sassy Alumni Hub, and we are bringing together every single cohort from the very beginning right up to the latest, connecting alumni and current students. We hold periodic events throughout the year that you won't want to miss. To get updates and invites, it's super simple. Just make sure you're registered on the official HEC alumni platform. That's how we reach you. So don't wait. Join us.
And now, back to the show.
Well, you mentioned this at the beginning of the interview, but I think it kind of touches upon that the business was centralized in France. What was the story behind the ambition of moving to the US? Why do you think it was so challenging? Uh, is there something you have managed to explain yourself? You had the ambition to bring the business there. How have you thought about this?
Yeah, so I had the ambition, of course, for obvious reasons. I wanted to be able to work with people around me. I knew that I wasn't going to be out and moving out to France, so I said, okay, well, I want to be the one to expand EcoLearn into this space, into this country. I want to be able to go out and talk to people. I want to go to New York and attend meetings and sell and pitch and all of that because I found it exciting. I think that's the entrepreneur in me. And so that was the ambition. And even at one point we were talking about, okay, I'm just going to lead all of our global expansion, and I would have loved that.
Yeah.
To be able to do that journey would have been really a huge learning journey for me. And to be able to say that I've done that would be great for kicking off the next piece of my career, whenever that would have been. So I really liked that idea. And so I stayed because that idea was thrown around many times, and that idea was more or less promised to me that it was going to be coming. The problem then was that we, as a small company in France, started running into various challenges that many other startups sometimes run into. And so it just wasn't the right time ever. We would do a little bit, like I did a few customer discovery interviews here. I did some workshops out here in New York to try to get leads. I recruited a few people to test out our courses and the English ones that we had. So we tried a little bit here and there, and every time we started to try, we shut it down because we just couldn't put the resources to it, or we all couldn't focus on it. And I really was the only one who was pushing to make it happen
You were very passionate,
for a while.
I'm sure, about it.
Yeah, I mean, I understood that we needed to go in due time,
Yeah.
but I also realized that that if I wasn't there, this ambition of moving to the US would have never existed for EcoLearn. So towards the end, and then towards the end, we ran into another challenge, in which it was very clear that we would not be expanding in the foreseeable future. And so at that moment, I knew that my time at EcoLearn was going to be coming to an end quite soon, because I didn't want to just wait around for it to happen. And I had no idea when it would happen, or it could be 5 years from now, and then I would have been okay, sure, but it also could have just never ever happened. And then I spend so much time running a company from a different country and not feeling like I can do and put in my all, because that was another thing. I'm not there. I can't really talk to all of our learners. There was a language barrier, and so there was a limit to what I could do to help keep the company moving forward. And I didn't like feeling that limit.
Yeah, I see. I think as you mentioned, how it made sense for you to join EcoLearn, like it really sounds that it made more sense that it was that you had outgrown the company and
Yeah.
the company wasn't giving you what you wanted. You came to the end of your work there in June. Could you name a few things that you think you'll miss?
Oh, I will definitely miss the people. I think that was one of the strongest suits of the company. Our
Mm-hmm.
team was uh, very dynamic because it, in different ways. One, because people were moving in and out every so often, but also because we had so many diverse backgrounds come through. And the biggest thing is that everyone at EcoLearn, their relationship goes far beyond coworkers. I was uh, so happy every time I went into the office to see that they're all genuinely friends. And the entire team is they all hang out together. They spend so much time at the office just because they're working and they're hanging out and then they play board games at night together or they go get dinner together. Uh it was great.
Yeah.
And throughout the entire experience of EcoLearn for me, the number one thing that anyone who had come through and left had said was that the they valued the most uh, the people and the relationships that they built.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like a little bit of a proud mom in that sense, like
You should. You should.
building this team, and so definitely the people I will miss. Um, and and I think the I think that I'm taking everything with me that I would have missed.
Mm-hmm.
I on my last day, I it was quite emotional. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a sense that I was really sad and that I was going to in a negative way miss so many different things and
Yeah.
experiences, but I was more emotional because I just felt this huge, huge sense of gratitude. I have gotten so much from EcoLearn and from my CEO and the opportunities that I was given. Not that many people have that chance
Mm-hmm.
to take them to grow in the same way that I did, to face the challenges and overcome the challenges that I've had to face throughout the last few years that have really allowed me to grow as my own professional within my career, to grow as a founder of another venture,
Mm-hmm.
and and so yeah, it's less about what am I going to miss besides the people. It's more that I feel so much love and gratitude for what I was able to do and have and receive during that time.
Wow. It sounds like a full-rounded 5-year experience.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
And so now you're leaving me with a question on what do you want to do now after having such a rounded experience?
Yes, so to be very honest, I knew I wanted to leave EcoLearn almost a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just sticked around because I felt like I needed to put out some more fires that were popping up there. And also because I had no idea what I would do when I left. And so it took
Mm-hmm.
me a very long time to really reflect on what I would do. And I had so many different options. My CEO even said, look, if you want to build another EcoLearn yourself in the US, like I'll support you in any way I can from a distance, but like
Mm-hmm.
go for it. Go for it. Uh, so I had the option. I had the option to find a job. I had an option like at another company, at a corporate company, and go corporate. I had so many ideas for other projects that I could possibly start in the sustainability space, not in the sustainability space. And I landed on something that really, more and more now that it's been some time that I've cultivated this new project for myself, but it's very core to who I am and how I have been since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So I am starting a business or an organization around women's holistic health and wellness.
Okay.
And so right now I am a menstrual health coach and educator. I am working on a social media around this topic, a social media account on Instagram, YouTube, everything. I'm going to try it. So I'm a little bit of a content creator at the moment to educate about this space. And at the same time, I am starting to coach women and girls on who are facing really bad PMS or really bad cramps and period problems, and showing them that there are ways to address these things through natural methods, through our food, our movement, and just thinking about our health in a different way. And this has become such a huge piece of my life because for so many different reasons. But mostly concretely, I came into this space of hormone health and fertility and menstrual health and all of this because about a couple of years ago, I was at the peak of just being frustrated with my own personal challenges with my health. And I also got married and I was thinking about having kids, and I wanted to make sure that whenever I have kids, like I'm super healthy and
Mm-hmm.
everything is optimized and all of that. And I had come across this concept called cycle syncing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about understanding our menstrual cycles as women and the phases of our cycle and how to support the hormonal fluctuations that are happening within each phase with the right food and the right exercise. So I started using my own body as a test subject for all of this and all of the research that I started doing in this space. And the one Pablo, like when I tell you how different it is, I mean, of course, when I'm talking to people, when I'm seeing friends, people don't usually see anything is wrong.
Yeah.
But in my home, the week before my period, I was in Monster. And you can ask my husband when we got married and moved in together. He had no idea what to do. And now I am a completely different person. Like, I have been able to help myself overcome all of the mood swings. I used to cry because of how painful my cramps were, and
Yeah.
I used to get acne before my period and so many other symptoms. And now I either do not get a symptom or they are so reduced that I sometimes don't even have to take a painkiller for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before I was popping pills and doctors were giving me this and that.
Yeah.
And so now, yeah, the difference is really night and day. And I feel so good all month long. And I really feel that more women and girls and their parents need to understand this because I don't know how it is in France, but I have talked to a few people and it seems relatively similar. But here in the US, uh, gynecologists often prescribe birth control to fix all of these different symptoms that we might have in our cycle, whether it's acne or bad cramps or this or that. They prescribe birth control as their first and sometimes only option, besides taking a bunch of painkillers, right? And so we have like teenage girls going on birth control for all of these reasons, not because they want to be, maybe they do, but not because they want to be on birth control.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are ways for us or things we can do to try to address these symptoms before taking medications and before putting them on birth control, which really just does not fix the problem underneath. It
Mm-hmm.
hides them. And whenever that woman is about to get off of birth control, then all of those symptoms come back, or they come back worse, or whatever it is. They didn't solve the underlying issue.
Yeah.
And so my research and everything that I've been working on the side for the past couple of years and now full time for the past 2 months
Mm-hmm.
has been around this and around educating people on this, coaching them. I actually just did a workshop at a women's wellness retreat yesterday in the mountains nearby, which was super cool.
Yeah.
There were 9 women, and I did a whole little health class almost, teaching them about all the things we did not learn as women or as girls, younger girls, that's happening in our body. So I taught them about our
Mm-hmm.
cycles, the phases, what cycle syncing is, and then we did a little tea workshop where I explained that there are certain herbs and teas that can help relieve certain symptoms. And then what they were able to do is, based on different things that they face and their preferred flavors and this and that, they made their own little tea blend. And and it went super well. And people
What?
seem to get a lot of value out of it. So I am, yeah, still riding a little bit on that high from yesterday and from some of the feedback I got from my coaching clients as well earlier this week.
That's very cool. 2 months into a new venture and already starting to have clients. Like, that's efficiency.
They're test clients. I admit they're not paying for my services at the moment, but it's still important for me to test it out to make sure I perfect
Yeah.
and refine my offerings and get the feedback and testimony and everything.
Wow. Very exciting. So you have described me a lot of information. And the first question that I wonder is, why do you think there is this gap that it took you so much time to know that there were other ways to address whatever cramps you were feeling or the mood swings, etc. I guess I don't know. You have been living with this for most of your life, and you just came to this realization within 1 year ago, or maybe less.
I think that we often we really just are often trusting everything that our OBGYN or our family doctor is telling us. And the problem, and that's not a problem, sorry, that's not a problem. And I am not against medical doctors because I fully believe in modern medicine. I think the problem is that doctors don't get trained on a holistic health curriculum. And so they're not going
Sorry to interrupt you, but can you define what's holistic health before continue?
Yes, so holistic health is looking at traditional things like traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurveda, which is in India, and it's centuries of people who have used food and herbs basically to cure diseases and to cure symptoms. And so when someone talks about having ginger to reduce inflammation or ginger and turmeric shot to when you're sick and to help you feel better, that's getting kind of trendy now. These things are all based in traditional alternative medicine that comes from Asia, East Asia. I mean, I'm sure there are different methods in South America as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, this is holistic health and alternative medicine.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff is not necessarily clinically trialed in official scientific journals and studies. Doctors are trained on what's clinically studied.
Mm-hmm.
So they are trained on all of the drugs. They are trained on everything else, but they're not trained on which herbs are going to help as well some of their patients. And so that's one thing is that so the first thing is that doctors aren't trained on a lot of the alternative medicine solutions and options that are available out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I think because of that, and because we all just needed to trust what the professionals said, we would go with what the doctors say. And so we never really would understand that information or that there are other options. And now in the past however many years with social media and the ability to learn more from other types of people,
Mm-hmm.
have access to more unique knowledge, people who have been in the holistic health space, who are traditional Chinese medicine doctors and this and that, they're able to share their points of view and their solutions for common symptoms and illnesses as well. And so now, as a patient, we are able to see that there are options outside of what the doctor is telling us. So I think that's one of the biggest things is that there is just a huge gap between holistic health providers and medical doctors today, modern medicine. And my goal and honestly my vision is for women to find a way to bridge that gap a bit, because women need to know that there are multiple options outside of just multiple options of birth control. There are multiple options of lifestyle changes that they can make and to try, right? I mean, I'm not talking about taking crazy herbs and making potions and all of that to help fix cramps. I'm talking about looking at actually how our hormones are shifting and what's causing that inflammation in the body to make our cramps worse, and being able to eat in a way that reduces that inflammation. So it's not changing your entire diet unless you're eating a very, very poor diet. It's changing the types of food that you choose to eat when your hormones are shifting in a certain way, so that it prevents mood swings and it makes your cramps feel a little bit less. So it's all stuff that will never hurt someone and is worth a try.
How easy is to find a test client, or maybe you have actually found a client uh, that's open to your advice?
To be really honest, many women and many girls go through the challenges of PMS symptoms every month. The more I talk, like almost anyone who I talk to, they either themselves have struggled or they know 1, 2, or 10 people that have struggled and that are struggling. So I know that there are a lot of people who face the problem. Now to actually become a client of mine, that depends on how willing someone is to really make a difference in their life and to really take control of their health and be empowered to do something about it. Because most of us, for a long time, me too, every month I just said, okay, dang, this is just what I have to bear for the next few days, and it's every month. I just have to deal with it. Just have to deal with it. This is just part of being a woman.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of people have the problem. Less people, way less people know that their symptoms and what they're feeling doesn't have to be their normal. It doesn't have to, they can do something about it, basically. And then it's educating, I think, those people. It's educating people to understand that they can do something about it. And then from that, finding the people who really are ready to take that step. So I don't know if that really answered your question, but I think I will find, I will one day have a lot of people come to me, because once it is a little bit more common knowledge that we can do something about it, more and more people are going to want to know how and the tools to do something about it.
That's a very exciting and a very nice ambition that you have. And you mentioned that possibly a client needs to be willing to re-educate itself. Uh, how did you educate yourself? How did you upskill to go from a chief operating officer to a coach, an advisor on women's health?
When someone asks me what I was doing for fun through the past 2 years after my wedding, basically, the only thing I was really doing for fun was reading books about cycle syncing and about holistic health for women, and reading studies online and listening to people who have already started talking about this. I have immersed myself into this topic for a couple of years now, and that's what's brought me the knowledge that I needed to get here. The tests that I've done on myself, my entire experience for myself, is what brings me the ability to share my story and to share what's learned for me. To share what's worked for me with other people. And the actual skill of coaching and everything else, that I'm kind of just winging. There's no official menstrual health coach certification that you need to be board certified to talk about this information, right? And I always make sure that I tell people I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm going to share with you what I have researched and what I have learned and what has worked for me. And that's why I feel like it's a space where I can do something in, because as I said, it's about nutrition, it's about fitness, and none of what I can suggest will ever hurt somebody.
I see. Where do you want to bring this project forward in 2-3 years? Where would you like to see yourself?
Everywhere. I think that I am starting the social media because I want more people to be educated about all of this. I want every woman to know that if they are going through all of this, there is something that they can do. Every woman should be knowing what's happening with their body. Every woman should be knowing how to go through the different hormonal shifts that they're going to face in different phases of their life as well. It's not just women in their 20s who have a period, but little girls should have better education on what's happening with their body, and from the beginning when they are getting their period. Women in their 40s and 50s, though that's a whole market that I have not dove completely into yet, but I know they need so much help. They need so much help because there is nothing. There are barely any resources for them, And even the doctors are barely trained on menopause. And so the stories that I've been hearing when I talk to like my mom's friends and
Yeah.
all of the parents that I've been the older parents that I have encountered for some time now, and I talk to about this, like every single older woman tells me the same thing, that they felt like they just had no resources, they didn't know what was happening, they struggled, they felt like the doctors weren't listening, so on and so forth. So I mean, throughout an entire lifespan, basically, for every woman should just know what's happening, what the options are for them, how to help each other. And honestly, every man should know what's happening too. Like I'm sure you would love to be able to support your wife, and eventually when your daughter grows up, to support her in the way that her body needs, to make sure that she feels good and that she feels healthy and that she is healthy. And so that's another thing that I would love as well, is to educate more men on how they can support and what's happening, because we're not just going crazy because we want to go crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's a real hormonal shift that's happening, and there are real ways that we can support ourselves.
I think I think you have some untapped markets, definitely.
And now, a brief word from our sponsors. Back to the show.
Social media. I remember you were only using WhatsApp at some point, or and I think LinkedIn for professional reasons. Why do you think the social media channel has now evolved to being in the right space for you?
I was never really into, and I am not really into my problem of scrolling. That's really it.
Okay.
I I I had an Instagram, like my personal Instagram. I had it and I have it. I just don't have it on my phone. And so anytime someone would want me to check something out on Instagram, I would log on to my computer and check it out online.
Yeah.
And that's really only because I felt that it was a distraction. I did get into the habit of scrolling sometimes whenever it was on my phone. And then I realized that I also just, I would scroll, but for what reason? Like, uh, I don't know. It didn't make me feel good at all. So that's why I had kind of stayed away mostly from social media in that point, in that perspective. And that's why I also don't have TikTok. Um, but I think that with what I'm working on, I call it the feminine flow. With the feminine flow, the channel like that I chose to use, so I chose Instagram, and I would like to start posting on YouTube as well, so that people without Instagram can also see my content. Um, I chose to go the social media route because it is the best way to share everything that I'm learning for free. And it's also going to be a way to help me create some sort of a following, so that I can have a backing when it comes to actually selling my services eventually, right? I see the social media as a way, as a platform to launch from,
Yeah.
and also as a platform to help with my credibility as well, and to show that I am I guess a thought leader in this space, and that I talk about it, and that I have good solutions, and I know what I'm talking about. So for those reasons, I felt that social media was important to achieving this mission that I have set for myself now. And it's been an interesting journey, learning and spending time on content creation. I have a newfound respect for content creators because of how much time this step takes. And so I'm learning, and we'll see where it goes. And that's where I am.
It's very exciting, and I really wish you the best with it. I I don't know if you still have maybe 2, 3 minutes, but I would love to kind of round up on one thing you mentioned earlier that was missing you from your work at EcoLearn was that you didn't have any physical in-person community impact. Your project is now involved on this, and you mentioned a workshop that you did yesterday. How did it felt?
Amazing. I get so much energy from doing things like that. Honestly, I get so much energy from going to networking events that are relevant for myself as well. And I remember that people in SASI would comment a lot on my networking. But truly, like I when they did the ENTJ, the 16 personalities thing, I'm like
Yeah.
literally in between an I and an E. I'm an introvert because I definitely get an energy by being by myself, and I am okay being by myself. But
Mhm.
but I definitely need that. Uh, I don't even think it's about being social. I think it's about interacting with people and speaking about something that I am so passionate about is that's the part that brings me energy. Because I would remember when I had my very first startup, every time I would do pitch competitions or if I'd be at a conference, I would be just saying the same story over and over again about my social enterprise and how we started it and all of that stuff. That's when I felt so good and so amazing. And so I think that's what it is. And I forgot like your question, actually.
How did it felt running a live
Oh,
workshop?
oh yes, yes. So it felt amazing, and so I think also I'm still working from home. I don't go into an office, and I don't have a team yet or anything, but I'm totally okay because I am still going out there. I'm doing workshops. I'm still going out there and meeting people in person to talk about the topic. My coaching sessions are online so far, but they're with people who I know are also in my area and they're American, which
Mhm.
helps. And they speak my language.
Yeah.
um, so so I feel like I'm getting my fill of that interaction and that context, that local context that I have been needing as of now.
Well, congratulations. I think that's very nice to have, especially something that you felt you were lacking.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely feels good.
so Priyanka, just one last question. Where can people find you? Where can people get informed about your new venture and where we can follow the exciting path that you're on?
Yes, so my Instagram is the.feminine.flow. So the feminine flow with periods in between. And eventually I'll have a YouTube that's also named the same. And my email is thefeminineflowco at
Yeah.
gmail.com because I'm just starting and I don't have my own Google Suite with my domain yet. But I did create a very basic website called myfeminineflow.com.
Hmm.
So that's also up there and available to check out.
That's great. Thank you very much for sharing everything that you have done since you left the Masters. I really wish you the best on your new venture. I'm sure you'll be able to have the social and local impact that you were looking for.
Yeah, I think so too. And it was really awesome to have this time to share it with you, Juan Pablo, and I'm so curious now to hear about everybody else's journey and excited to see where everyone else is.
Thank you for listening and help us maintain our community one episode at a time. We will see you on the next episode. Blessings to you all. The content here is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization. Listener discretion is advised. This show may contain sensitive topics or strong language. Use the information at your own risk.